Trump and these Republicans have been saying is like, we should deport Ilhan Omar. And like that kind of stuff drives me nuts. It's bad politics because you just look crazy, right? Tom Homan, he said that the Department of Homeland Security is investigating whether she came into the U.S. illegally by marrying her brother. The thing is, she did, allegedly. It very much appears that Ilhan Omar and her brother used sort of a American ignorance, right? Naming conventions and things like this. He was coming in by way of visa or something. And so she tagged along. She was just like, hey, we're married. I go, oh. They go, you are? So let him in, you know? If you go, hey, we should investigate this thing that has been an open secret for years, that you cheated on all your paperwork to come over here, and see how it shakes out. I mean, there definitely should be a penalty. Welcome to Loaded Talk. I am your congressman, the third most popular candidate to ever be. I am Frank, and along with me as always.
What's up, planet Earth? I'm Bean.
The Bean. Big day today. Today is the 11th of December. It is the birthday party of the Libertarian Party, the birthday Libertarian Party. So, by the time people hear this, hopefully you all went to your county affiliate or state affiliate shindigs and had a blast. I will be going to mine immediately after this. Of course, it's also Thursday night. Our struggling Tampa Bay Buccaneers go against those filthy Falcons from Atlanta, and I'm hoping that they win. I will be devastated. The last game was horrible, and there's been a lot of bad football recently. But Mike Evans might be back, and J-Mac might be back. They're definitely active, even if they don't get too many snaps. They'll be getting back in the game. No one came here to hear about football. But maybe one day, Charlie. Maybe one day. We'll just alternate talking Buccaneers football and whatever crazy crap comes out of your mouth, and we'll just do that all day.
Like Loaded Sports?
Yeah, there you go. Loaded Sports and loaded foil hats. That would be fun. Put a little foil hat on our logo. Anyway, all right. Speaking of things, so starting with some stuff that I guess kind of touching back on some things we talked about. Maybe I will rearrange some things. This fella, Colin Wright, what is his actual thing? He's the editor-in-chief at Real Last Stand, fellow of the Manhattan Institute, and advisor of Atheist Liberty. Okay, he likes whiskey and cats. Well, I too like whiskey and have a cat. So basically, my best friend here, Colin, he has an interesting okay, so we talked about the Trump coalition kind of falling apart, and about how young men seem to be getting scooped up in this Nick Fuentes thing. I mentioned that it just doesn't seem real. I was like, I don't know. He's probably a plant. Like, he seems like a plant of somebody, or like a foreign government deal. You know, even if he doesn't know it, it seems like maybe there's something amplifying, because I don't know. He's been around for a while, but like just to suddenly like pop on the thing where I was like, hey, look how influential he is, and you go, yeah, I don't know anyone that listens to him. You know, it's like everyone listens to him, but nobody does. So this dude Colin Wright put out some stuff. I guess we'll take a looky at it. And so he has a report from NCRIO. Wait, what is that? That's not like the Network Contagion Research Institute.
Oh, my God.
That's unfortunate. Are you aware of these guys?
No,
Well,
it seems made up.
Well, they are, I think they're heavily funded from one of your favorite countries out there.
Oh.
Yeah, I think they're kind
of... Surprise.
I think it's kind of like the Anti-Defamation League, where it's like looking for, I think, contagion. The contagion might be anti-Semitism or something like that. All right. Well, regardless, according to them, his rise was driven by synchronized amplification networks, anonymous booster accounts, foreign engagement farms, and a media ecosystem that mistook manufactured noise for genuine political momentum. So yeah, this is retweets within different time windows, right? And so Nick's numbers are in red, right? And it's comparing to Destiny, wildly popular, Ian Carroll, wildly popular, Elon Musk, hugely popular, right? And if you look within a minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, on all markers, Fuentes gets more retweets in this time period. But like by all of the other people put together, more than that. Maybe over here on the 30-minute window, it's equal to everyone else put together. Elon Musk has 220 times the number of followers, and he's very popular. He's a very famous guy. And it's like, well, that's interesting. Fuentes has this like crazy real-time engagement. And then you got this one. So mean retweets per million followers within the same time window. So same thing. If you normalize it, like for every million, it's even crazier. You go like, all right, so let's look kind of more apples to apples. And then you go, oh, so Nick Fuentes is like within 30 minutes, he has 506 per million. Where's old Elon? Elon has 1.8. Who's this one? I don't know who Hassan Piker is. But Ian Carroll, he's down at 20. Destiny is down at 32. Once again, Nick Fuentes 506. And everything's like that. There's Elon doesn't show up on any of this. I guess he's just got so much quantity that okay, well, whatever. But anyway, one of these things is not like the other. Fuentes is smoking everybody by hundreds of times, right? So he's got a coordinated booster network. 61% of early retweets come from accounts that repeatedly amplify multiple Fuentes posts within the same 30-minute window. 92% are anonymous. Many openly identify as groupers or signal boosters. Their feeds exist almost solely to promote them. So these people, some of them could be super fanboys. Some of them could be super fanboys that have a couple accounts and are looking to boost them. Some could be friends of his, which are essentially the same thing, fanboys there to promote. So some of them can be actual affiliated fans or what have you. But the quantity is pretty crazy. Foreign engagement. This is when it starts to get squirrely. Nearly half of the retweets on his most viral posts come from accounts clustered in places like India, Pakistan, Nigeria, Malaysia, and Indonesia, all of which are hubs for low-cost engagement farming. So if you were to go let's see what this one is. Yeah, so we got 92% anonymous, 54% say they're groupers, which is his little term for fans. And so here's the domestic versus non-domestic. 3 top tweets before and after Kirk's death. That's very specific. So before, looks like about 50-50 domestic and non-domestic, which was about 17,500 each. After it, you got domestic accounting for 62.5. What is it? So non-domestic is 37.5%. That doesn't seem to be proving what he's looking to prove. But top 3 tweets before and after. All right, whatever. That's a weird scale. But so I guess as he was building, I guess is what they're saying, as he was building his network up into the Charlie Kirk time, half of his traffic was international traffic. Most of it from being like, if you go on Fiverr or any of these websites, you can buy followers. Like we could have a bunch of followers. Problem is, if you get a Pakistani dude, right, and it's one of the low cost ones, he goes, what do you want? You want 5,000 followers? I can get you 5,000 followers. You go, cool. But the problem is they're all Pakistani dudes. So suddenly you go, like, you look at the fans, it's like, oh, no, you're like American people. And it's like, I guess this account's huge in Pakistan, which if you're a domestic company that doesn't sell international or something like that, or an American personality, it's not great if someone goes, none of these people speak English, and yet they like you and follow you. That makes sense. But all these, not to give the secrets up, but yeah, go to Fiverr.com. You can buy it. I've seen people do it. It works, but you get an army of Indonesians and stuff. All right. He actively directs manipulation. Okay, whatever. That's he basically, when he does live streams or whatever, he'll be tweeting during it. He'll go, all right, I'm about to tweet. Everybody retweet this. And I guess that's technically against some terms of service, but who cares? You know, I like everything I tweet. Everyone should retweet it all the time. All the things right now. Everyone listening, go retweet all of my tweets. I don't think anybody's going to do that.
Especially the Pakistani accounts.
Yeah, especially my Pakistani accounts. Oh, man, that location services thing, that has been wonderful. That helped aid this thing. But, like, it's so fun because, you know, like, you'll put something about the Federal Reserve and monetary policy, and they'll show this, like, hot chick in a bikini. It's like, you know, Diana Flower Girl likes your post. And it's like, yeah. And you go like, let's see Diana Flower Girl. You click and it's just, you know, like model all these posts like, isn't coffee wonderful in the morning? And it's, you know, some of them actually have gotten followers, which is always very disappointing. But it's nice being able to click on it and being like, Ghana. Did not expect Ghana, you know. But anyway. One of the big things, the media fell for it. The media, of course, the mainstream media, and even alternative media on this one, but the mainstream media, as we know, is stupid. And they do just whatever's easy. So between June and November, 15 major outlets published 149 stories mentioning Fuentes. After Charlie Kirk's assassination, this thing found 60% spike in high-status framing, i.e. reporters suddenly describing him as more influential and politically relevant. Mainstream media thought they were tracking organic sentiment on the right. In reality, it was reacting to manufactured noise. He's an extremist entertainer with a niche following. Whatever. Okay. So, this tells us a couple things. One, media's stupid. And they will do... There's a lot of, when you, especially local news, but a lot of media, they need content, right? And if you can hand them a story, they go, thank God, don't have to think about this one. They'll just write it up. I mean, press releases get turned into articles all the time. You know, you see like the AP, like AP sends out a bunch of stuff, and other sites basically read this summary that the AP wrote and try to fluff it up, maybe get a quote or two from somebody. But it's basically, they go, see, AP came up with an idea, and they go, okay, we'll turn that into an article. See if you can get the, you know, Timmy Smith, who's cited in there. Let's try and get a quote and a picture. And they go, hey, look at that. We made news. But yeah, you can just, a lot of them are happy to be, if they're not investigative journalists, and sometimes even then, but if they're not, I mean, a lot of them are just happy to be handed a story. And then possibly more predictable, what this tells us about the media is they're always looking for a way to disparage people who are not Democrats. In this case, it is people on the right, and, you know, MAGA and Republicans have started following this racist anti-Semite. Look how popular he is. This young man is what young MAGA is. It's all little Nazi boys, little gay Hispanic Nazi boys, allegedly. I don't know. Probably. Watch some of his videos with the sound off, and you go, all right. Mannerisms is what I'm saying, Charlie. Mannerisms. But anyway, they're always hungry for the story that is, especially Republicans, racist, right? Republicans, racist. Republicans, evil. And then, to a lesser extent, but still very true, they'll do it to libertarians. They did it to Gary Johnson. At first, they thought the Libertarian Party would peel more votes away from Donald Trump versus Hillary. And all of a sudden, the numbers started coming in, and Gary was pulling lots of Democratic voters. So suddenly they're like, well, we have to end him. And that was like that Aleppo question that he screwed up. But, you know, they're asking Hillary Clinton about hot sauce and purses and stuff. They go, what are we going to do about Aleppo? And instead of being like, what do you mean by that? Or in what regard? Or something like that, to be like, go into this more. Where, like, what exactly is the question? It's just like Aleppo. They're, oh, you don't know Aleppo? You don't know? And so they just pounce on it. It's like, he can't be president. He doesn't even know, he doesn't know cities and capitals around the world. So, they did a hit job, which they love to do because the mainstream corporate legacy media is part of the Democrat Party. I don't think this is controversial to say at this point. Like outside of Fox News, which is part of the Republican Party, though his children might want to change that. But anyway, as of now, probably for a while, it's the Republican Party. All the others are Democrat Party. And they hunger just to throw that narrative out. It's always out there. Anytime they can figure out a way to quote unquote prove it, they jump on that opportunity. In this case, they had the opportunity to say Republicans and everyone on the right is, loving Nazi stuff. And Tucker kind of doing what Tucker's been doing hasn't been necessarily helpful. So they jump on that, but also alternative media has become a cesspool of racism and anti-Semitism. So, you can take out the competition, as a whole, just labeling the more consumed content as being hate speech, and then go after the Republicans. And so they didn't look into it at all, of course, because it doesn't look like this was hard to find. It became easier once X put up all their stuff. But you could do some research other than, hey, this guy has a bone to pick with Turning Point or Charlie Kirk or something, so he sends his people to go jump them and try to get them to, say negative things about Israel. Which pretty much what they do. And, they come with a lot of stats. There's the Israeli government, as we've discussed, has some things that one could be critical of.
No.
Controversial, I know. But ends up the government of this country not perfect. Not pure. Ends up the government of Israel only works for the benefit of the government of Israel. Yeah. You mean the nation of Israel? It works for the people of Israel. No. The government only works for its own benefit. That's how it ends up that when you're critical of the American government and go, we've made these mistakes in the past. And some we've solved, some we haven't. Some we've apologized for, some we haven't. Ends up over there in Israel, similar thing. They've done bad things. And sometimes they lie to benefit whatever that they want.
Sometimes.
Yes, they sometimes attack their allies or their allies' allies at very fragile times when we're trying not to have World War III pop off. Sometimes they do things like that. Sometimes they spy on us more than our enemies. And by sometimes, I mean in perpetuity. Always, all the time. Did you, what was that story?
Hey, guys.
That Israel gave, what was he, a dude at the FBI or something like that, a nice gift after the Cold War or something, and it was like an eagle statue or an eagle thing.
That sounds familiar.
And they didn't scan it for a while, or they did. Yeah, they didn't scan it, and then it ended up being bugged. Was that Israel or was that? It had to have been Israel. I don't think it was Russia. Maybe it was Russia once we got friendly, but I feel like this was an Israel thing. And they had like a cool bug that didn't have a power source all the time, so the scanners they had at that time wouldn't hit them. They would blast a signal at the bug to get audio, and that signal also provided power for it. So if they were doing a sweep, which they could tell they were going to do, because people walk in and go, sir, we're about to do a sweep of your office. They go, bloop, put that down, and then, we're good. Just wait a few minutes, get a sandwich, act like you're looking for pipe bombs at the DNC, just be leisurely and get back to it. Anyway, so I guess, when you're provided with quite a bit of factual data, and some speculation that seems solid, you know, you can make a good pitch as to how it wouldn't necessarily be in America's interest to keep funding all this Israel stuff, especially if you're trying to say you're like American first. And so, like, yeah, he loads his people up with good, I don't know, good, but lots of data. So they would show up at Turning Point USA, and the question would be, sometimes I'd say they went from being anti-Israel to anti-Jew. Probably often enough. And so, but anyway, but outside of going to those events, like, and even then, like, it's not like those events got much hype. Like, Charlie Kirk puts his video clips out. He used to put his clips out. They go around, you know. But you know, you didn't hear anything about it. But the media didn't look into it at all. The media just said, this is good. Alternative media bad. Republican bad. Right-wing bad. Article good. So, anyway, I had a feeling that Fuentes was not this powerhouse. You know, I'd barely heard of him and before all this. And, like, I knew he had a podcast. This comedian Dave Smith, who's kind of rose in popularity recently. Like, he got a bunch of beef for doing an interview with him at some point, and because he said something about being a fellow traveler. I think he was saying it in regards to, like, being a voice on the internet saying things that are outside the mainstream, not I don't know, and being, you know, being in opposition to a lot of Israeli actions and what's happening in Gaza. But there's lots of things where Fuentes is very, very, very big government and very, I guess, not libertarian and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, Dave Smith's also Jewish, by the way. So it's, yeah.
So not a time traveler, right?
He might be a time traveler. Why?
So you said traveler, so I don't.
Oh, yeah. Well, yes. Might get into that maybe later. Dun, dun, dun. Multidimensional. That would be funny if he was. That's what happened to baby Hitler. Like, he traveled through time, and then he was raised by a Hispanic family. And so
This is the result.
like, we shall name him Nicholas Fuentes. Little baby Hitler, they're wiping all the smudge off the lip. Like, how does this thing keep get here? All right. Anyway, so that's just a little bit of, Frank's always right. It isn't real. He'll probably, he's got some followers. He'll keep having followers. He's gotten a good boost from the media. We'll see how that goes. But as far as him being, like, mainstream, like, even someone who's, like, anti-mainstream is, like, Alex Jones. I don't think he'll get anywhere close to Alex Jones, like, outside of, Twitter accounts from buying followers. But I think there's going to be a lot of alternative voices that grow bigger and stay bigger and all that. So this is manufactured. Either it is foreign powers pushing this, or he just decided to buy a bunch of followers and set up this network. Because, in spite of everything, he does seem like a sharp fella. And so it's just like, all right, well, let's boost it. Hell, maybe we'll do it. We'll get a bunch of Indonesians to boost our stuff. That's what the people want. More Indonesia. All right. This is a bit of a pushback. This, I don't know how much people are into ranked choice voting, right? Full disclosure, I'm very supportive of ranked choice voting. There is a nonprofit here in Florida, Rank My Choice Florida. I support them with donations and, when they ask for it, advice, which they don't ask me too much because I'm always busy. So, but anyway, so all that being said, so this is an article on Blaze Media, and I'm generally complimentary of this outfit, especially once I got rid of the ads. But this is an example of something that's driving me nuts. Republicans do it the most, or Republican media, Republican new media, I guess. And I think some of it is engagement farming, but some of it is, I don't know, I guess the fear mongering to sell soap. And it's basically like talk about how liberals like something, Democrats like something, and it's bad. Like, this is bad because Democrats like it. And you go, okay, like, what is it? Because, there's things that Democrats like oxygen. Oxygen is good, And, but, everything, even the Epstein thing, it's a Democrat hoax. You go, it's not. I mean, it's not. I'm sure they're leveraging it in a way that seems like a hoax when they leaked all those emails and they tried to present information in a way that was not factually accurate. That part was a hoax, I'll give you that. But anyway, so in this one, this is an opinion and analysis by J.T. Young, who is author of Unprecedented Assault, How Big Government Unleashed America's Socialist Left by Real Clear Publishing. 3 decades of experience working in Congress, the Treasury Department, womp womp, and Office of Management and Budget, as well as representing a Fortune 20. What does that mean, representing a Fortune 20 company? Like as a lawyer? All right, whatever. He works in government. Good for him. And he wrote a book. So this is some guy that obviously his career... Yeah, I'll hop in a second. It seems that outside being an author, his career is just being part of big government.
Great.
So let's just keep that in perspective. All right, here we go. This says states and cities already using ranked choice voting show how marginal candidates gain leverage. In a Democratic primary, that means more influence for the party's left wing. The article's title is Inside the Left's Push to Reshape 2028 with Ranked Choice Voting. So that headline right off the rip goes, ranked choice voting? That's some Democrat stuff. Leftists are going to use it to take over the country. All right. If Democrats seem extreme now, wait until they adopt ranked choice voting. Some activists inside the party want exactly that. A reform that would push presidential nominations even further left and force establishment figures to navigate an ideological gauntlet to win. Just let's stop right there for a second. Force establishment figures to engage in ideology to win. That sounds like a debate. It sounds like addressing the issues and saying what you stand for. But... whatever. All right. So first, yeah. All right. You don't want to have to do that. You don't have to say what you stand for. That's actually real. in politics, you do not want to stand for things. All right. Multiple reports indicate that Democratic Party activists and elected officials are pressuring the party to adopt ranked choice voting for its 2028 presidential primaries. Axios notes that the push has grown serious enough that top party officials met in late October with advocates including Jamie Raskin, pollster Celinda Lake, and representatives from Fair Vote Action. Okay. Such an effort fits long pattern. For decades, Democrats have shifted presidential nominations away from party leadership. They just pick somebody. For decades, Democrats have shifted presidential nominations away from party leadership. The hell they have. They created super delegates to make sure that Hillary beat Bernie. This is crazy.
Feeling the burn.
Feel the burn. On ranked choice voting specifically, several states are already using it, Maine and Alaska among them, along with deep blue cities such as New York, Minneapolis, San Francisco, and Seattle. They're all deep blue because of ranked choice voting. Ranked choice voting takes multiple forms, but New York City's model illustrates the dynamic. Voters rank up to 5 candidates. If no candidate wins an initial majority, the last place candidate drops out, and those votes, the voters' second choice votes are redistributed. Redistribute the vote. This loser leaves process continues until a candidate secures a majority. So, 5 people, no one gets over 50%. Whoever that bottom person is goes away. The people that voted for that person, they had a second choice. So those votes go to whoever, and still no one's over 50. The 4th person drops off. Who's the second choice on those? And if they are that first person's second choice, you look at that person's third choice. tabulation. It's, it's not, it sounds complicated when you're describing it out loud. It's not complicated at all. Especially, we have things called computers. They're great at counting things.
What?
Yes, it's true. And with AI and quantum computing, I think we'll be able to count. Probably. All right. Let's see. Assuming rational behavior, Democratic voters would likely rank candidates from more extreme. Assuming rational behavior, Democratic voters would likely rank candidates from more extreme to less extreme. Why would rational go extreme? Okay. The pattern would advantage the leftmost candidates again and again as lower preference votes transfer upward. All right. This structural boost would encourage both supply and demand for extreme candidacies. Candidates on the ideological edge would have more incentive to run. Voters who prefer them would have more influence. Ranked choice voting supporters tout this expanded participation as a virtue. So, right now we're taking an ideological, like we have an assumption that we're being forced to take in here. You go, obviously, Democrats are going to, their preference is going to be the commie, the craziest commie. And, it's like the Fox News caricature of what a Democrat voter is. It's like they're going to want, even Bernie Sanders. Everyone wants a Bernie Sanders and or Elizabeth Warren. And then you go, most people don't.
Yeah, I was going to say, do they?
Yeah, it seems like granted they wanted him more than Hillary, but that's because Hillary was the worst candidate to ever run for office ever. The only one that seemed worse than her at that time? No, I take it back. There was only one that seemed like they were worse, and that was Donald Trump. And then he beat her. So, she's the worst. And then until Biden ran for a little bit this time, but he wasn't alive. So as far as a living person running, Kamala was pretty bad. But she's brain dead.
Was drunk.
Yeah, probably. So, okay. They really are getting worse. At this point, she was the worst candidate. Gosh, this place is falling apart, Charlie.
Well, define extreme. What are we labeling as extreme? In ideas, plans, or just character?
I think they're going with, the current boogeyman is the Mamdani caricature, right? Now Mamdani pushed out a commercial again recently to show what he was going to do. It's like a campaign ad. And one of the big things he's talking about is cutting all this paperwork for small businesses to make it easier to start a small business. He's like, you shouldn't have to fill out 27 forms to open a barbershop. # true. Now, he then goes a little commie with it, talking about how the city has the small business grant fund that no one really uses, and he wants to boost participation in that. And you have to imagine there's going to be a racial and sexuality and gender component that will probably aid in you receiving money, maybe even a citizenship versus non-thing, priority. So you can already see how it's going to get politicized. But the first part of it, cutting all the bureaucracy, maybe all that paperwork cut will stay away once the next mayor comes in and goes, we're not doing the grants like this anymore. Because frankly, I don't care how they waste their money. I don't live there. Florida's also closed and a horrible place to live.
Terrible.
Florida sucks. Don't live here. You just, ugh. So obviously, I think what they're saying when they say extreme, they mean Rashida Tlaib and Mamdani. They mean Muslim. They mean Democratic Socialist commie. It's gonna be that kind of. What's Ilhan Omar? It's that AOC, Ilhan Omar, ignoring that these people got elected in very blue areas first of all, and with Omar, it just happens that her very blue area is also very Somali, or what? Yeah, Somali, and so it's okay, so you got this you got this young, good-looking Somali woman who can talk. She wins the Democratic nomination. Boom. That's all it took. The Republicans not going to win. All right. All right, we'll get back. Yeah, so they go, of course, because everyone's going to pick the extremists, more extremists are going to run, which, that's going to be crazy. Okay, we'll get back to that one. Offering voters multiple choices would foster coalition building. Don't want that. Knowing the race may go to multiple rounds, candidates would angle for second and third choice votes. Right. The horse trading once done in old convention smoke-filled rooms would unfold publicly through a series of ranked ballots. But the key question is simple. Why would ranked choice voting necessarily supercharge extremism inside the Democratic Party? Because the system rewards voters for casting marginal votes. And among today's Democrats, marginal means further left. The system rewards voters for casting marginal votes. It does not do that. Okay. Both this and the paragraph before. What ranked choice voting does, let's just take the third most popular party in the country, Libertarian Party. Okay? You go around knocking doors, you talk to people, set up at these events talking to people, and the one thing you hear more than anything else, I really agree with everything that you're saying. I agree with the policies. I just don't want to throw my vote away. And you go, wow, if everyone who said, I don't want to throw my vote away, just voted for us, that would be enough to win. And so what ranked choice voting does is you can go, I believe in the Libertarian Party, but if they can't win, how about the Constitutional Party? But if they can't win, how about the Republican Party? Or whatever, And then Democrats might go, I want the Green Party, I want the Democratic Socialist Party, and then the Democrat Party. And what it does is it takes away this duopoly just crap where you have to pick the lesser of two evils, It doesn't benefit the fringe. It gives people an option to actually vote their beliefs. And without, worrying something's going to be thrown away, because say you vote Libertarian and Constitution and then Republican, they go, okay, maybe Libertarian looks pretty strong at first. And then, you get down to the final two and you go, looks like you rounded off and you voted Republican. It's like, well, there you go. You didn't waste your vote. You voted for a Republican. Congratulations, But it's like, but you get there eventually. And as far as this horse trading and all this kind of stuff, so right now, how do you do an election, Charlie? You go, me versus you. I say, you got to vote for me. We have to stop Charlie. And you go, what? It's like, we have to stop Charlie. Charlie's a piece of crap. They go, really? It's like, I saw him slap his mama. And you go, no joke. And since the very beginning, John Adams and Jefferson, I think Jefferson said that Adams was a syphilitic cross-dresser or something like that, or hermaphrodite. And so I was like, damn, okay.
That's cold.
It's cold. But that's what you do right now. You do hit pieces. You do hit pieces on people, and it's all about scaring people away, scaring people away from you over to me, because there's no other option. If they're afraid of you, they come to me. That's what October surprises are all about. It's something they did to go, well, I don't want that, So what this does is you can't campaign. Say you are the Republican candidate, right? You can't just go like the Libertarian. They're a kook. It's a kook. They'll never make it. A bunch of kooks. Because you go, I do want to be the second choice of anybody that votes for Libertarian. And then say the Democrats, Republicans and Democrats, they hate each other. You can't just be like, she's a dog. She's a dog and we should send her to prison and all this kind of stuff. I mean, you can. But if it's a tight race, you might go, I don't know. If one of these other parties snakes up, I kind of want to be the second choice for the Democrats. Now, first, it'll probably not be Republicans, Democrats being 1-2 on each other's list. But as far as the smaller parties that are in it, you have to think that way. It'll keep people from going quite as crazy. There might be, the French candidates might have a little more opportunity to be an attack dog. You probably see some horse trading like that. Say the Green Party is polling at 2% or something, and as far as like being a second choice, they're polling at total of 15%. Like they're not getting very high in all the different polls they do. And you go, okay, so Democrats can go up to the Green Party and go, hey, why don't you get your attack on, and then maybe you have a role in the administration. So suddenly you get an attack dog that can be mean while you go, look, I think we should all get along here. I do support this. I believe in everything this person does, but I like to keep it nice and respectful. You'll have some of that, which is it's politics. But it doesn't benefit fringe candidates. It just allows people access to be heard. It allows voters to hear all the perspectives and then go, well, this is what I do believe, but worst case scenario, this is the lesser of two evils. But lesser of two evils is now choice 3 or 4 or 5, not choice only, All right, let's go back to this real quick. Okay, so this is why it's going to make the Democrats crazier, right? The party's ideological shift is measurable. In Gallup's 2023 poll, 54% of Democrats identified as liberal, all right? An all-time high. All right. What would that...
That's weird.
Yeah, okay. I know it kind of became like a disparaging word, and that's why they switched back to progressive. But anyway, that's kind of crazy. That's weird. I wonder what Republicans poll at right now. I wonder how many people will go, well, classical liberal, Support for Democratic Socialists in major city mayoral primaries show how rapidly the party's activist base has moved left. In 95, the liberal share of the party was 25%, roughly equal to conservatives. 3 decades later, conservatives make up 10%. Who the hell's in the Democrat Party calling themselves a conservative?
What?
Yeah, I know.
And how are they able to compute this? Like, what are they basing these numbers off of?
And there's a poll. There's some poll in 1995.
Like, you're registered as this, but how do you lean?
How do you self-describe? Because even if it's a poll about a candidate or whatever, they go like, how are you registered? How would you describe your political views? And they give you different options to check. But some of this is just lingo change, because in 95, it's crazy that only 25% said they're liberal. I guess most people probably said, I'm centrist. That's probably what that means. And now liberal, it just isn't that crazy. Like, I don't know. It's not that wild of it. Like, if you're a Democrat voter, it'd just be like, I'm not a liberal. It's like, okay. Like, I don't know why you would say you're not.
Why are you sensitive about that?
I know. It's like, I guess a Republican saying I'm not a conservative. I guess I've heard them say that. But there's, I'm a constitutionalist. I'm a this, I'm a that. But yeah, I don't know. Like, liberal just seems, okay, whatever. Maybe it is like the conservative. I don't know. Whatever. Exit polling confirms that trend. In 2024, 91% of self-identified liberals voted for Kamala Harris. Only 9% conservatives did. Okay. Yeah. 2024. We're talking about the presidential election. 91% of Democrats who describe themselves as liberal voted for Kamala Harris. Yeah.
I mean, hopefully, right?
Right. And only 9% of the Democrats that define themselves as conservative did. All right. So you're talking about kind of centrist old. That means old people who've been a Democrat for a long time, who are like, I'm a JFK Democrat, I'm a Bill Clinton Democrat. And they go, this is getting a little zany. I think we're spending too much. Like, even though one can argue whether Bill Clinton deserves the credit for the balanced budgets and all that kind of stuff. One might say the Congress had a hand in it. Either way, he was there and he didn't veto it. And so you go, look at this. Look how good the economic numbers are. We are not in debt. Like, we don't have a huge deficit that is strangling the entire country. The W came in and said, hey, watch this. All right.
Hold my Coke.
We're going to war, boys. Extrapolate from this trajectory. And the danger becomes even clearer. Extreme candidates increasingly win Democratic primaries in major cities. Those cities dominate statewide Democratic politics. And in closed primaries, only Democrats vote, meaning the hyper-engaged activist left already sets the terms of competition. Ranked choice voting would amplify that influence. The same voters who nominated Democratic Socialists in New York and Seattle would wield disappropriate powers in a presidential contest. Why? You mean in New York and in Seattle they would have power? Why would they suddenly get superpowers in Tennessee and Texas and Florida? You go like, oh, they're going to talk people into voting for the Democrat. It's like, that's what they want to do. That's their whole purpose as a Democratic activist, is to get Democrats elected. Okay, how much we got on this? Okay. Consider how the 2020 Democratic primary might have played out under ranked choice voting. Joe Biden, an establishment candidate favored by moderates, would have faced a field dominated by Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Pete Buttigieg, Tom Steyer, and others to his left. That's exactly what happened. Ranked choice voting would have forced him through a gauntlet designed by the party's most ideological voters. That already happened. We've already been people have already been talking about how, okay, in closed primaries, both parties, you go to the extremes, and then in the election, you move to the middle. Because you want to be, I am the most Republican there is. I'm the most Democratic there is. Like every just deranged hope of that we could ever have in the party, like I support that. And then you get to the actual election and you go, look, we're not going to be doing all that kind of stuff. We're going to be very moderate. We're going to be just doing stuff that everybody wants. That's how it has worked for a while. There's Republican strategists that say you should always vote for the most conservative, the most right-wing candidate in the primary. They'll be moderating in the general. So if you get someone that's already pretty moderate in the Republican primary, then when he gets to the general election, he's basically going to be a Democrat. So like as far as the ends already forcing moderates to engage in that conversation, it's already been going on. And I don't know, say what you mean. Like if you're saying like you're going to have Bernie Sanders saying like, here's my like democratic socialist dream. This is how things work the best. And then you have a moderate Joe Biden or whoever going, I disagree with that. And I think this is a better tact. Like that's called a debate. That's called sharing ideas. I consider that good. Let's see if there's anything else in here. The trend is not new. 1972, George McGovern reshaped Democratic nominating rules and then benefited from the changes. Shocker. Since then, the party has repeatedly weakened its establishment's role, with key exceptions. I imagine that's Hillary Clinton. Ranked choice voting would accelerate that shift dramatically, with moderates now only 36% of the party, according to Gallup. How could they resist a move towards ranked choice voting? More importantly, which remaining moderate or establishment Democrat could survive ranked choice system dominated by the party's left wing? Ranked choice voting would pour accelerant on a process already pulling Democrats further to the left. The only question is how long it takes for the party to adopt it and how long the party can remain viable if it does. Because, obviously, J.T. Young is clearly hyper concerned about the long-term viability of the Democratic Party. Like, this is a Republican, you know, he is...
Clearly.
Yeah. The Republican, he is writing about, you know, the fear of the Democrats getting further left wing. But he's doing it because, you know, how will the Democratic Party survive? How will they possibly survive? This guy is not concerned about that at all. He's not even concerned about the Democratic Party. If they go further left, I think they lose elections because there's a lot of, like, you know, there's a third of the country that is without party, right? And they might be Democrat voters, Republican voters, or whatever, more often than not, but they don't like the extreme people. There's the whole soccer mom deal. Well, you got to keep, you know, the Midwest soccer moms. That's a huge voting block. Moms, you know, as far as on a national average and all that kind of stuff, moms get scared off of extremist ideas. They don't like people that make them feel like they're going to go broke or go to war. You know, Donald Trump, he's too much. He's too much. He's too boisterous. Not great with the ladies, historically speaking. And the lady voters, not really interested. You know, a bunch of young dudes came aboard instead, and they go, we don't care anymore. We win. But ranked choice voting will get rid of the establishment that he's worried about. That is what ranked choice voting upsets. It upsets the deep state. It upsets, this two-party, just shill wins every time thing. It gives people a real chance for their actual voices to be heard. It's not a left-wing ploy. This is not something that is good for the Democrats and bad for the Republicans, or good for the Republicans and bad for the Democrats. This is something that's good for America and bad for corruption. And people go, well, there's different types of voting things. There's ranked choice, there's this, there's that, the other. Lots of alternatives to what we do today. That's fine. I'm not going to have that debate. I think ranked choice is a good one. It's easy. And it does give you the opportunity to make your voice heard. It gives small parties, instead of just because right now, like, why does the libertarian candidate rarely get to be on stage? It's because the debate, the two parties come together and go, Democrats and Republicans who have all this money, they go, we're not going to have them on the stage. Let's make a rule that you have to be polling at least 11% to be on the stage. Libertarians sitting there at 10.9 or something going, come on, Or let's say you need to receive this many donations. They come up with all these different rules for who's allowed to be heard. And so if ranked choice voting's opened up, it's like you might have to let some more people on stage. And so anyway, it benefits ideas. It benefits a diversity of thought. And it does reduce the nasty partisan, just mudslinging nonsense that we're all tired of. Just like, he's evil, she's evil. Instead of that, it's let's focus on the ideas, because you might need a second choice. Maybe the Democrat Party does, extremist itself into being a relic. Some other party takes over. Okay. Well, then you want to be the second choice. If you're a Republican, you want to be the second choice for the Democrats. Or if you're a Libertarian, or if you're a Green Party, you want to be the second choice for the Democrats. Because if they're going to peter out at 36%, well, you want to get at least half that, preferably all of it. So you can't just be like, they're a pinko commie who kills babies. You might have to go, I disagree with the economic policies, and I disagree with the stance on abortion, and let me tell you why. You might have to, be a human.
Whoa.
I know. It could happen. And if you really want to shake it up, because, one problem with a lot of these, congressional seats, the way to be the Speaker of the House, you have to be in a safe district, right? That's a requirement. I mean, you got to do the horse trading. You got to be smart and whatever, calculate and all that. But on top of all that, you got to be in a safe district. You can't be in one that's getting challenged all the time. You can't be having a serious race every 2 years. You need to basically be able to coast, stack cash, hand it out to your people in your party, and, just kind of be crooked that way. So in those districts, when it's not someone that's a speaker, but in those districts, whoever wins the primary wins the election. If you win the Democratic Party primary in Manhattan, you're going to win the election. The Republicans are not going to win California. A lot of the districts are like that. And there's a lot of Republican districts like that where, you win the Republican nomination. In the state of Florida, a lot of things here have become so red now. It's just you win the Republican nomination, you've won. But if you add open primaries with ranked choice voting, so basically it's kind of like our mayoral elections are in St. Pete. It's everybody goes out and they have all the candidates on there. They got the Republican, the Democrat, they got the Libertarian, they got the Green Party. And they go, okay, we'll rank choice this thing. And then whatever the rules are, out of the primary comes 2, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is. But everyone gets to vote. Everybody gets votes. Independents are voting. Everyone's voting. So you can thin it down. Then you have the real election. And maybe it's down to 2. Maybe it's down to 3, whatever it is. But if you, in that system, right, odds are still the Democrat, the Republican, the whoever, the safe district, unless, of course, people are finally able to, not worry about throwing away their votes and give it to a smaller party that they believe in. But assuming that doesn't happen, assuming it's still dominated by one of these two parties, at least as a Republican, an independent, libertarian, etc., in a safe blue district, you'd be able to go, well, I'd much rather that Democrat than that Democrat. And, have a bit of a say instead of having no say at all, where they go, the Democrats are going to pick the furthest left one. You go, okay, well, open the primaries up. And then Republicans and independents and everybody can vote. They'll go, well, my first choice is Republican. You go, my first choice is the Republican candidate here. Second choice is this Republican candidate here. Third choice is this Democratic candidate. And, whoever gets through the primaries, whatever. But there you go. And with that, too, if Democrats are splitting the votes in the primaries and Republicans maybe aren't, if you were in the minority party for that district, you'd be smart to only run, not really have a primary. Just run one person in the primary to not divvy up the votes, and then maybe you get to the general. And maybe in the general it doesn't matter. You still get smoked, but anyway, there just might be a way to help things. The only thing that gets hurt by this is the establishment. The established Republicans, the establishment Democrats, and old J.T. Young has more than 3 decades working in Congress, the Treasury Department, and the Office of Management and Budget, and then has represented a Fortune 20 company. JT is part of the establishment. I don't even know who JT is, but JT is wrong. So he either does not understand ranked choice voting, or he's purposefully mischaracterizing it as a piece of the vast left-wing conspiracy to take power and radicalize America, just to scare people in the GOP, the voters. Anytime they hear ranked choice voting, just goes ding. That means communism. That's what the lefties like. And if lefties like it, it's bad. I support this ranked choice voting group because I believe in it, obviously. So I know I'm biased, clearly, but this doesn't seem honest. This seems like nonsense. This seems like just horse feathers. Just horse feathers designed to swindle old right-wing voters more than anything else, to make sure it never happens and they don't lose their grasp on power. Charlie. Yeah, I don't know. I know I was kind of ranting heavily on that one. You got anything you want to throw in?
I mean, you explained it very well. I've had a couple people approach me saying ranked choice voting is bad, and I asked them, well, why is it bad? And they go, well, and it's like, okay, so you don't understand it and what it can generate based on the math. Just do the math.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just math. It's easy math. It's just easy. And they'll point to New York City's mayoral election that elected Eric Adams, and it was a mess, right? But that's not ranked choice voting. That's New York being horrible at executing something very basic. It's like when they're counting presidential votes every election. Florida's like, it's 10-15, we're done. And then other places go, it's going to take 7 days. You go, we have 3 times your population. We're done. They go, impossible.
We're still finding votes in trunks.
Yeah, it takes a long time for us to find all these boxes. But so in that same regard, it's it's the voting organizations who are not executing elections well. We actually have a pretty good Pinellas elections team. They actually do good work. Julie Marcus and her whole crew, They do good enough work that municipalities are starting to let them run the elections for them, and Florida, as an extension, does a good job. And I have no idea how Julie Marcus leans politically, which is great. She runs the elections. Should know that. But they point to that. They point to Alaska, this last congressional seat or something. Sarah Palin was running, and there's like Sarah Palin, another Republican, and then like a Democrat. I think maybe only one Democrat or something. And this wasn't even an open primary. This was in the election. 2 Republicans, a Democrat, and whoever, right? And a lot of people in Alaska don't like Sarah Palin. If you're the GOP, especially GOP Alaska, you should recognize that a lot of people in your state, in your party, don't like her, right? So the Democrat won. Everyone went, ranked choice voting did this. They let the Democrat. This is a Democratic trick. It goes, listen, you had 2 candidates. People didn't like this one. So some people voted for this one and said, I don't know, second choice is this Republican, right? The people that voted for this Republican said, I hate this Sarah Palin. My second choice is the Democrat. And so when they started counting the votes, it ended up being like, you don't have enough Republican support to win. You just don't. There's enough support for the other person. And if you weren't running, the other person would have won. But because you were there, you muddied the waters and you screwed it up. So you can blame it on ranked choice voting, but the fault is on Sarah Palin and the Alaska GOP. Don't be stupid. Run good candidates. Blech. Blech. All right. We'll do something real quick. 5:07. So busy during the holidays, Charlie. It's so busy. This is... Oh, okay. Is this what I want? Confirms. Oh, yeah. Speaking of just like bluster on the radio and all this stuff, one of the things, Trump and these these Republicans have been saying is like, we should deport Ilhan Omar. And like that kind of stuff drives me nuts. It's bad politics because you just look crazy, right? You look like an extremist. You look like someone that's willing to deport someone because they have a Hispanic accent or their last name is Gonzalez. The Republicans need to fight against that image if they want to win and go, no, we want to deport criminals, But if you start going like, I don't like that person, we should deport them, you look like a nut. And you make the whole party look like a bunch of nuts. But what's his face? Tom Homan, he said that the Department of Homeland Security is investigating whether she came into the U.S. illegally by marrying her brother. And the thing is, she did, allegedly. It appears, it very much appears that Ilhan Omar and her brother used sort of American ignorance, right? And of naming conventions and things like this. And they just said, hey, we're married, let us in. And they went, okay, and I forget the things, but I think he was coming in on a student visa or a work visa to be a professor or something. He was coming in by way of visa or something. And so she tagged along. She was just like, hey, we're married. We go, oh. They go, you are? They said, yeah. I said, okay. So let him in, Meanwhile, I think she did have a husband back in Somalia or whatever. Or not. I forget. I think she did. And like now she's divorced her brother and divorced the other guy. And I think she's got a new fella, American fella. I don't know if she's married or just dating or what, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, pretty sure she did do this illegally. And like this was years old at this point. So like, I don't know. It's going around with deport her. That's stupid. If you go, hey, we should investigate this thing that has been an open secret for years that you cheated on all your paperwork to come over here and see how it shakes out. I mean, there definitely should be a penalty, some sort of fine. I think at this point, you'd basically be making her a multimillionaire if you deported her. She
already is.
She probably is, yeah.
$30 million.
Oh, yeah.
She got really good at stock trading somehow.
It's amazing how good they are up there. But okay, well you'll make her a bigger millionaire, more of a millionaire, because like she'll like deport to Somalia. It's like okay, she's not gonna stay there. Obviously, she'll go to wherever, London or Paris or anywhere, Canada, and she'll start up a nice podcast, and she'll be talking to people, and she'll be wildly popular. She should think about doing that anyway instead of being a congresswoman. There's just money waiting to be printed, like old Marjorie Taylor Greene was exploring. I mean, it's just different side of the same coin on this one. Okay, so that's kind of a funny thing. Yeah, that money means. We don't have time to go into it, but what is it called? The National Defense Authorization Act. Are they just selling porn on these websites? These ads are ridiculous. Secret dating site for singles. What does it say? Singles 5. I want to see it. Singles 50 plus. They've got a picture of what looks to be a 20-year-old AI girl in a silky little nightie plugging a secret dating site for singles over the age of 50.
Why does it need to be secret?
It's secret.
If you're single, why does it need to be secret?
Because it's so good. If everyone knew about it, the servers would shut down, Charlie. It's where the hot babes who want 50-plus dudes are hanging out, just waiting to be texted. And they're definitely not hookers. There's some hookers, probably. There's probably some hookers. And they might steal your life savings, and their boyfriend might kill you. But you go out with a smile, and that's the important thing. Anyway, these ads are always distracting. This is why I like that the Blaze got rid of ads so much, because like reading the news at work, and all of a sudden there's ads like that, the thing going into the butt that was advertised all the time, or just the borderline pornographic AI images to sell everything from I don't know, Temu to whatever. You go like, oh, can't be looking at this. Like, people are going to think I'm a damn pervert. Meanwhile, you're trying to read an article about the Federal Reserve, Anyway, so the National Defense Authorization Act passed the House. This has become a new omnibus type thing where people are just sliding stuff in willy-nilly, right? Like, they were supposed to have it when the House passed it. Excuse me. There was some language, an act, the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act. So basically, an act that made sure no central bank digital currency would be a thing, because of it being a horrible, tool of Satan and big power. Mike Johnson promised it when he pulled it out of whatever thing he pulled it out of before, maybe the omnibus, I forget. But I guess it went to the Senate. Edits happened, came back. That thing's gone. So you go, oh, that's interesting. But and that one does have some national defense stuff. But Elizabeth Warren, she tried to put in something for housing, for affordable housing, to subsidize Section 8 tenants and builders. So she basically put into a National Defense Act this thing where it's like, hey, let's give money out to people building Section 8 houses and people living in Section 8 houses. And you just slide it in there. And who else? Tim Scott. Well, I think Tim Scott supports it, so this is something that's gonna get passed probably. And there was something else. Oh, there was a act that made it so that the federal government like superseded state law on like AI and stuff, saying like nope. And so luckily the Elizabeth Warren thing and the AI thing had to be pulled out before it passed. But this thing has become the big, like a big new, just add anything to it and spend a ton of money. And of course, it's at like 986 billion or something like that. But so that is something we're hearing about right now. Where does it give me the total? So, and then I guess on the good side, right next to the hooker site here, this one guy goes, all right, well, it's like, I'm going to put in a bureaucracy bunker buster. So this dude, Glenn Grotham, a representative from Wisconsin, said he added something that would cut 19% of civilian jobs inside the War Department. Sorry, Jimmy. Saving an estimated $30 billion. And they go, we think they'll keep firing people after that. I'm like, don't get me wrong. Good. I mean, good. Save money. We need to save money. The War Department is one of the biggest offenders. $30 billion, whoop-de-doo. It's like the Doge thing. It's like, all right, that's cool. I mean, we need to cut $3 trillion, but $30 billion, I guess, is a start. Of course, it's just that. It's just a start. It's not going to go anywhere else. But yeah, these things are becoming omnibus. We'll find out. I think we're going to find out all sorts of stuff that gets authorized through this. The other thing I just want to touch on real quick is, I guess, the Supreme Court is hearing, what is the actual case they're looking at? Basically, it might overturn. So Trump fired chick of the FTC, right? I guess her name's probably Rebecca Slaughter. Yeah, Commissioner Rebecca Slaughter. And she was like, you can't fire me. And the court's like, yeah, you can't. And Trump's like, why can't I fire executive branch? I go, you can't do it. She's like, that's right. I'm coming back to work. And so she did. She came back to work. So it's getting challenged up to the Supreme Court. And basically in 1935, it's Humphrey's executor versus the United States. In the New Deal era, FDR. So once again, it'll be a time for Trump to compare himself to one of the biggest government corrupt commie type presidents to ever be. FDR wanted to fire someone also from the FTC. And the guy was like, you can't fire me. Because there's rules. You could only fire somebody for, I don't even know if it's in here. But it was basically, you can only fire somebody for being negligent or, yeah, it's not in here. You can only fire somebody if they were negligent or something like that. They gave like a very clear, like 2 or 3 reasons you could fire somebody. Or the president could fire someone at the FTC. And so this guy was like, it doesn't count. Like Humphreys the whole time until he died. He goes, I'm still a commissioner of the FTC. He claimed it. And, I guess back then it was, I guess you just stay in your office and work. But he didn't get paid. So after he died, though, the executive of his estate sued the United States. Like, you owe back pay because he was not legally fired. He was employed that whole time. And the court found in favor of the executor of Humphrey's estate and said that because it was a quasi-legislative, quasi-judiciary branch of a somewhat independent part of the executive branch, that the chief executive could not just fire people and needed congressional approval or whatever. This was a time when conservative justices were trying to stop FDR anytime they could, but it was unanimous 9-0 vote, which is kind of crazy. Though one of the people that voted yes also kind of dissented in a weird sort of way. But anyway, so it looks like this is going to get overturned. We have like the Gorsuch, Clarence Thomas. Oh shoot, I just blanked on his name. It's like Alito's gone, right? And so it's oh shit. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Even our Chief Justice, he votes sometimes with the left, sometimes with the right, or I guess sometimes people consider conservative and liberal justices. He can be all over the place. He's like on top of like the more quote unquote conservative justices. This guy is saying like, yeah, I don't see how we could have a branch that is quasi-legislative. Gorsuch came out and said that. He goes, there's no such thing in the Constitution as quasi-legislative branch. There's no fourth branch of government. There's no quasi-judiciary. And so this is coming up, and it's looking like it's going to get overturned, which would mean that the president will once again have the power to fire anybody in the executive branch, which to me makes sense because it's the executive branch, and he's the head of the executive branch. And I think it's ridiculous when you can't fire somebody. Like, you have to be able to fire somebody. Brett Kavanaugh, let's see. Your position would allow Congress to create independent agencies, maybe converting some of the existing executive agencies into independent agencies with no political balance requirements, with a long term, say 10 or more years, and with the chairs not subject to removal as chair, said Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh looks like he's opposed to it. So this thing will be interesting. It'll be good to overturn this. It will be something that Just because you get appointed doesn't mean you're going to have the job more than 4 years. And I don't know how that's going to affect the applicants. Maybe we should shut down the departments, though. Maybe that'll be a thing. Just shut them down. That's not even a problem. But yeah, so this could be a big ruling that has kind of immediate effects that we see. No, you want to jump in on any of that kind of stuff? Yeah, I was just trying to rattle through some things since I ranted so long on ranked choice voting. All right, well, that's it. Once again, happy birthday to the Libertarian Party. Go Bucks. Hopefully they win. And hopefully they've won by the time you've heard this, and they win again after you've heard this. But follow us on the YouTubes and the Spotifys and the Rumble Ding Dongs. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, hit alert buttons on Rumble. I can send you notifications if you follow us. Only once per 24 hours, but I do it, damn it, and I continue to do it. Charlie, what do you have for the fine people at home?
So our Grok factoid of the day, on this day, December 11th, 1866, the first transatlantic yacht race began after 3 wealthy New Yorkers made a drunken $30,000 bet, winner takes all, on whose boat could cross the ocean fastest.
Nice. You know that clearly the boat that started off as a man won the transatlantic one. Thank you. That is funny, just rich people betting. That's how World War I basically started too. Just rich people, just pissed off at each other.
1866, 30 G's.
That's a lot.
That is a lot of money.
I wouldn't bet that now. That's crazy. Well, cool. Well, everybody, make sure you spend your life savings on a bet about trans people racing across the water or something. I don't know. Goodbye.